Okay, look. I'm just going to say it right out of the gate.
Go for it.
I have never, ever wanted to reach through a screen and just strangle a director more than I did last night. We just watched Destroy This Tape, this new 2025 Canadian horror thing. And honestly, the title is The Best Advice I Can Give Anyone.
It really is.
Let's cut the crap. This movie is a crime against cinema.
It's genuinely frustrating.
Yeah.
And I don't use that word lightly. Like, frustrating means there was something good there to begin with.
Exactly.
Something to ruin. If it was just pure trash from start to finish, we wouldn't even be talking about it. It'd be forgotten.
We'll just move on.
But this is a film with, I don't know, a severe split personality disorder. It's infuriating.
It's like two completely different movies got horribly mangled in a lab experiment and then stitched together with, like, cheap glue.
Yeah.
You've got these directors, Sean McGarry and Carter Folks, and I don't know which one of them made the decision to just completely shift gears halfway through, but it ruined my entire night.
It really felt like a betrayal.
It did. It's a betrayal of the audience. You invest your time, your emotional energy in one reality, one set of rules, and they just yank the rug out from under you for no good reason.
It's a fundamental violation of the contract.
What's contract?
The one between the filmmaker and the audience. When you sit down for a movie, you implicitly agree to suspend your disbelief.
Right.
But you do it based on a set of rules the film establishes in its first act. This movie spends 30 solid minutes building a very specific, very effective, very creepy set of rules. And then it just decides to light itself on fire.
It really does. And look, if you are listening to this right now and you want actual honest reviews where people don't just, sugarcoat absolute garbage because they want to get invited to the next premiere, you need to go subscribe to the Dread Den channel on YouTube. Like right now, stop what you're doing. Go do it. Stop wasting your time with these algorithm-chasing shills and go to Dread Den for real horror content.
Please do, because we need to unpack why this film is sitting at a pathetic 3.3 out of 10.
Yep.
And honestly, I think that rating is generous. It's almost entirely carried by the goodwill generated in that first act.
Oh, 100%. The first 30 minutes are doing all the heavy lifting for that score.
So let's tear this disaster apart. The premise seems simple enough, right? It's set in 2025, but the movie is us watching footage from 2007.
Okay.
A group of teenagers go camping in Alpine Oaks Provincial Park. They disappear. They're never seen again.
Standard found footage setup. We've seen it a million times. Blair Witch, REC, Paranormal Activity.
A million times. But standard doesn't automatically mean bad. The trope exists because it works.
Sure.
It taps into this, like, primal, voyeuristic part of our brain. But what's interesting here and what makes the eventual failure so painful is how well they executed that trope in the first half.
Yeah.
So we have to tear this thing apart minute by minute. We have to give credit where it's due before we just absolutely roast the complete and utter bullshit that follows.
Okay, fine. Let's talk about the good part. The first 30 minutes, segment 1.
Right. If the movie had ended at the 30-minute mark, just cut to black, roll credits, we'd be talking about a cult classic short film.
No question. It would be on, like, best of the year lists for shorts.
Absolutely.
It opens up, you get that grainy static, that distorted audio with the whispers and the little text overlay about the missing teens. And I have to say, it feels authentic.
It does.
It doesn't feel like a 2025 digital camera with a vintage filter slapped on. It feels like 2007.
That's such a crucial distinction. I'm glad you brought it up. So many modern horror movies, they take a pristine 4K digital image and they slap a VHS filter on it.
Yeah, and you can always tell.
You can. Your eye detects the disconnect. It looks too clean underneath the fake grain. But McGarry and folks, according to the production notes, they actually emulated the CCD sensor noise from a generic 2007 Sony Handycam.
Wait, okay, break that down for me. What the hell is CCD sensor noise, and why does my brain care about that?
Okay, so back in the mid-2000s, consumer camcorders used these things called CCD sensors, and they had terrible low-light performance. So when you filmed in the dark, the sensor would just struggle to find any light information, and it would create this very specific crawling, chromatic noise.
Chromatic.
Yeah, little dancing red and blue dots, mostly in the shadows. It looks dirty. It's messy. Modern CMOS sensors in our phones and cameras, they don't do that. They just get grainy in a more monochromatic way. It's a cleaner grain. So by replicating that specific, ugly, colorful noise, the filmmakers are basically hacking your nostalgia.
Wow.
They're bypassing the logical part of your brain that says, this is a movie, and they're triggering the part that remembers watching your own awkward, crappy home movies from 15 years ago.
That makes total sense. It's like, it's the uncanny valley, but for technology. If it was too clean, I'd know it was fake. But because it looks like actual authentic trash, I trust it.
Exactly. Verisimilitude through imperfection. And they also stuck to the 4.3 aspect ratio. The boxy square image. It feels so claustrophobic you can't see what's in your periphery, to the left or right of the frame. The brilliant choice.
And the characters. You have Sarah, Mike, Lisa, and Tom. Usually in these movies, the teenagers are so annoying, I'm rooting for the killer by minute 5.
Oh, yeah. They're written by, like, 40-year-old men trying to sound cool.
Right. But here, the banter felt real. There's this scene in the car at the beginning, maybe minute 3 or 4. They're just singing along badly to the radio, and Sarah's filming the woods out the window, saying it's creepy but beautiful. It just didn't feel scripted at all.
That's the key. It's the overlap.
The overlap, right.
In a scripted movie, you know, actor A says their line, pauses, and then actor B says their line. It's clean. It's a tennis match. In real life, we interrupt. We talk over each other. We finish each other's sentences. An audio analysis of that car scene shows constant frequency overlap. Sarah's talking, but Mike is complaining about the radio station at the same time, and Tom is laughing in the back.
Yeah.
It creates this sonic chaos that feels totally unpolished.
And again, unpolished equals authentic.
You got it.
There's that moment around minute 6. They're trying to set up the tents. Mike is struggling with the tent poles.
Which is, let's be honest, the most realistic part of any camping movie ever made.
The most realistic horror, for sure. And they're just laughing at him. And then Sarah gets the camcorder, and she does this little interview thing. She goes around to everyone and asks, how do you want to be remembered?
That scene is doing so much heavy lifting. It's what we call organic foreshadowing.
Okay.
If a screenwriter had just put that line in a normal scripted dialogue scene, it would feel so heavy-handed, like a giant neon sign blinking, these kids are going to die.
Yeah, it'd be cheesy. Super cheesy. But because it's framed as a bored teenager just messing around with a camera, asking these like pseudo-deep questions, it just slides right under your radar. It feels like something a 17-year-old would actually do.
And I think you're right. The microbudget actually helps this part of the movie. The lighting isn't perfect. People's faces fall into shadow. It hides the lack of resources, but it also makes it feel so much more intimate. You feel like you're watching a tape you were never, ever supposed to see.
That is the fundamental promise of the entire found footage genre. You are a voyeur. You are watching the last moments of dead people.
Yeah.
It's inherently morbid, and that lo-fi, crappy aesthetic just enhances the morbidity. It makes it feel forbidden.
And then the weather turns. Right around minute 9, the rain starts. And it's not just like a little sprinkle.
No, it's a downpour.
A total downpour. The tents start leaking, and this is where the tension for me really starts to ratchet up. Because that's a primal fear, being out in the middle of the woods. You're cold, you're wet, and your only shelter is failing. And it forces the narrative forward in a logical way. In so many bad horror movies, the characters make stupid decisions just to get them into the scary house.
Let's split up.
Let's investigate the weird noise in the basement. Here, they have no choice. Their tents are flooded. They're screwed. So when they spot those cabin lights through the trees at minute 10...
It's a relief.
It's salvation. So they go. And when they get to that abandoned cabin at minute 11, the whole atmosphere shifts from fun camping trip to haunted house in an instant. But it's an earned shift.
That cabin was creepy as hell.
Oh, yeah.
The dust everywhere, the old furniture with the sheets on it, the flickering candlelight. And around minute 15, we get the first real scare. Lisa goes out to pee, right? Yep. And she comes running back, totally terrified, because she saw eyes in the woods.
And the group's reaction is perfect. They dismiss it.
Yeah. Oh, it's just a raccoon, Lisa. Calm down.
Which is exactly what would happen in real life. They ground the horror in reality. They don't immediately jump to, oh my God, it's ghosts or it's a monster.
No.
This is just evolutionary biology at play. We are hardwired as a species to see faces and eyes in the dark. It's a phenomenon called pareidolia. The characters rationalize it away, which does two things. It makes the audience feel smart for suspecting something really is wrong. But it also makes us sympathetic to the characters for just trying to stay calm and not panic.
But then minute 17 hits. The next morning, They go back to the campsite to try and salvage their gear, and the tents are just, they're ruined.
Yeah, they're shredded.
Slashed. Or was it just the wind and the storm? It's ambiguous.
And that's what makes it great. The perfect visual metaphor.
Yeah.
Their safety, their connection to the normal world is gone. There is no going back to the campsite. The pacing here is slow, I'll admit it.
It is slow.
But it's immersive. It's that slow burn that found footage does so well when it's done right. It allows the dread to just accumulate, like heavy, humid air before a storm.
And then we get to the climax of the footage, minute 21. The camera glitches start getting worse.
So much work.
The colors on the video just start inverting. It's so disorienting to watch.
But this is where the sound design really starts to shine, or I guess starts to hurt.
Oh, yeah.
You get these distorted audio spikes, this digital screeching sound. It's aggressive. It physically hurts your ears a little bit. It's a full-on assault on your senses.
And then the lake scene, minute 24. Ugh, the lake scene.
It's so good.
Tom just freaks out. He hears voices or something, and he just sprints full speed into the water.
Mm-hmm.
And he's screaming. Not just screaming, he's shrieking that something is pulling him down.
It is terrifying because you don't see the monster.
You see nothing.
You just see his reaction. You see the splashing, the sheer panic of his friends on the shore. The camera shaking so wildly you can barely see a thing. It forces your imagination to fill in the blank.
Right.
And whatever your brain invents to pull him down is infinitely scarier than some bullshit CGI monster they could have shown us.
The silence, the water settles, he's gone. That silence was louder than all the screaming. It was such effective horror. I was literally on the edge of my seat. I was thinking, okay, this is it. This movie is the real deal. We're in for a ride.
And the escalation just keeps going. They run back. They barricade themselves in the cabin. Minute 28. The siege begins.
The banging on the walls, the whispers.
And then that sudden slash attack right through the window.
It was shocking. It got me. Mike gets cut. There's blood everywhere. It's graphic, but it feels chaotic and real. It's not a cool movie kill. It's ugly and messy.
Yeah.
So they make a run for the car at minute 29. Lisa and Mike get taken out, just slashed apart in the dark. You barely even see it, so fast. Just motion and blood. And we're left with just Sarah running to the car. She gets in, she starts the engine, and then it just fails. The camera drops to the floor of the car. All you hear is her scream, no, 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 no. And then it just cuts to black.
It was a solid 30 minutes of horror. Just a perfect, nasty, effective little piece of cinema. It respected the medium. It respected the audience's intelligence.
But no, they couldn't just leave well enough alone, could they? This is where I start getting pissed off. Really pissed off.
Minute 31. The hard pivot.
We get a title card. White text on a black screen. 1 week later. And in an instant, everything changes. The aesthetic, the aspect ratio goes from that tight box to a wide screen.
The lighting becomes professional. The grain is gone. It looks like a TV show.
And we are introduced to Jack.
Jack, played by Andrew Watson, a struggling, egotistical true crime writer living in a dingy apartment.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
No, seriously, fuck that decision. You have me completely immersed in this grainy, terrifying first-person reality, and you rip me out of it to show me some dude talking on his cell phone to his agent.
It's jarring.
It's insulting.
It completely and utterly destroys the immersion. We talked about the contract with the audience earlier. They just tore up and threw it in our faces. By switching to this, like, third-person omniscient camera, they are telling the audience, you are no longer a participant in this horror. You are just a passive watcher. The tension evaporates instantly.
And let's be honest, the drop-off in the acting is, it's a cliff.
It's precipitous.
The kids felt like real kids. Jack feels like an actor trying really hard to play a tortured artist.
Oh, yeah. He's on the phone with his agent talking about how this tape is a goldmine.
It is genuinely impressive how derivative it is. It's a checklist. Is he drinking cheap whiskey?
Check.
Is he in a dingy, poorly lit apartment?
Check.
Is he desperate for one last big hit to save his career?
Check. It feels like a bad, low-budget ripoff of Sinister.
It's so lazy. The dialogue, I need this story, Jerry. It's my comeback.
We have heard that exact line in 1,000 bad movies.
We have. And, you know, Sinister did it well because Ethan Hawke brought this genuine, creepy, obsessive desperation to the role.
The Ring did it well because the investigation itself was scary. This just feels like a generic TV movie of the week. It's completely toothless.
And before we get into the absolute slog of his investigation, I need to remind you guys again.
Please do.
If you want recommendations that don't suck, if you want to avoid wasting your night on trash, like the second half of this movie, you have to subscribe to Dread Den on YouTube. They actually filter through all this garbage so you don't have to. Save yourself the headache.
Please, save yourselves. Because what follows is segment 3, which I personally like to call the boring investigation.
It is a bingo card for bad horror movie cliches. Jack goes to the town. First, we get the montage of the car driving on empty roads.
The driving montage.
Riveting stuff at minute 33. Why do directors think we want to watch people drive for 5 minutes?
It's padding. It is pure and simple padding. They need to hit a 90-minute runtime and they don't have enough story. Then he checks into the motel, minute 34. And we meet the motel clerk. And then later, the diner waitress. And the dialogue.
Oh my God, the dialogue. It is absolute shit.
It's so bad.
It's that classic video game NPC dialogue, non-player character dialogue. The waitress pours his coffee, and she literally says, "You shouldn't be here, stranger. The woods have a way of keeping things."
Who talks like that? Has any human being in the history of conversation ever said that sentence naturally?
Never.
It's purely functional exposition, delivered with zero nuance, zero subtlety. It creates such a distance. When the teenagers were talking about the creepy woods, it worked because they were just kids trying to scare themselves.
Right.
When a local adult says it in that flat, monotone, prophetic voice, it just becomes a caricature of rural horror.
It makes the whole world feel fake. It feels like a theme park ride, not a real town with real people. And then he goes to the police station, and of course we get the dismissive cop archetype.
Of course.
It was an accidental drowning. Case closed. Nothing to see here.
Which brings us to what I've labeled in my notes as the bullshit section.
Yeah.
Because the logic gaps here are big enough to drive a semi-truck through.
Okay, lay it on me. I'm ready. Minute 39, Jack goes into the woods.
Right. And he finds the campsite ruins almost immediately. Which, okay, fine. Maybe he's an incredible tracker despite being a city-dwelling writer who drinks too much. I'll suspend my disbelief for that.
It's a stretch, but okay.
But then, maybe 50 feet away from the campsite, he stumbles upon the decomposed bodies of Mike and Lisa.
No!
Yes.
2 dead bodies, lying out in the open, in a known camping area where teenagers went missing.
Decomposed. And very clearly slashed up.
Bullshit. That is absolute grade A bullshit. You were trying to tell me that the police closed this case as an accidental drowning, but somehow missed 2 slashed up corpses lying 50 feet from the last known location.
It is forensically impossible.
Yeah.
Even the most incompetent, lazy rural police force in the world does a grid search when teenagers go missing in a park.
Of course they do.
Search and rescue dogs would have found those bodies in an hour. The smell alone after a week in the summer heat. Come on.
It's so insulting to the audience's intelligence. It's the screenwriters just saying, look, we need Jack to find something scary, and we can't be bothered to figure out a plausible way for that to happen.
They just teleported the bodies there for the plot. And Jack's reaction. Does he pull out his phone and call 911 immediately?
Of course not.
No. He takes out his fancy DSLR camera and starts snapping artistic photos of the dead kids.
What is wrong with this guy? That is the moment where he becomes completely unlikable. Your first instinct upon finding 2 murdered teenagers is, ooh, great content for the book.
It just strips away any possible empathy we might have had for him. He's not a hero. He's a vulture. At that point, you stop rooting for his survival, and you actually start rooting for his failure.
I was hoping the monster would come back and get him. Now, there was one scene in this whole section that I didn't completely hate.
Let me guess. The dream sequence.
The dream sequence, minute 36.
Yes. He falls asleep watching the tape in his motel room, and the footage starts to bleed into his reality. The walls of the room start glitching and getting distorted, just like the tape.
Yeah, and the static noise from the tape starts bleeding into the real world. It was trippy. It was visually interesting. It suggested that maybe the tape itself was cursed, or maybe Jack was just losing his mind from watching it.
It was so underutilized, it hinted at a much more interesting psychological horror movie, that the virus of the tape was infecting his brain. But the movie just completely abandons that idea instantly.
Just throws it away.
Throws it away. Because instead of smart psychological horror, we move into segment 4. The shameless misery ripoff.
Oh, God. Here we go. Minute 44. Jack is back at the cabin, and he finds a hidden room. But first, we have to get a jump scare with a rat.
A rat.
A rat. In the year 2025, we are still doing cat and rat jump scares.
He is the lowest hanging fruit imaginable.
Right.
It's not fear. It's a cheap physiological reflex. But then comes the big reveal. He finds a feral girl living in the hidden room.
And for like half a second, you think, wait, is it Lisa? Does she somehow survive and she's been living here?
That would have been interesting.
That would have been a cool twist. But no, of course not. It's some random girl named Amy who disappeared years ago.
And surprise, she's the murderer. She attacks him. We get this ridiculously rushed flashback that's supposed to explain everything, something about her being possessed or jealous. It's barely coherent. The script barely cares, so why should we?
But the worst part, the absolute worst part, is what happens next. She ties him up, she ties him to a chair, and she forces him to write her life story.
It is a blatant, poor quality, shameless photocopy of Stephen King's Misery.
It's shameless. I couldn't believe it.
In Misery, Annie Wilkes is terrifying because she's a complex character. She's a psychopath, yes, but she loves Paul Sheldon's work. She is both a caretaker and a torturer. Here, Amy just screams cheesy dialogue at him.
Oh, the dialogue. This will be your masterpiece.
I know.
Did she really say that? I laughed out loud in the theater. I wasn't scared. I was laughing at how bad it was. It felt like a parody.
It did. And because we don't care about the characters, the violence loses all of its impact, too. Amy slashes some random cabin owner who shows up at minute 46. It's graphic, sure, there's blood, but there's no emotional weight because we don't care about the cabin owner. And honestly, at this point, we don't care about Jack either.
Exactly. I'm sitting there watching Jack get tied up and tortured, and I'm thinking, good, maybe this will be more interesting. Maybe he'll stop making stupid decisions now.
The escape sequence at minute 50 is just, it's so predictable. She falls asleep. He works at the ropes and loosens his bonds. We have seen this exact scene in 100 better thrillers. There is zero tension because we know exactly what is going to happen.
And the scuffle, he manages to grab a laptop and just bludgeons her to death with it.
Death by technology. A little on the nose for a writer protagonist, don't you think?
So heavy-handed. It's brutal, I guess. But by this point, the audience, and me included, is just pissed off. We're checked out. We just want the damn movie to end. We are 53 minutes in, and I honestly feel like I've been watching for 3 hours. The pacing in this back half is atrocious.
But the movie refuses to end. It just keeps going. We enter segment 5, the ending and aftermath, and this is where the thematic confusion really just peaks.
So Jack escapes. He staggers out of the cabin, bleeding. And what's the first thing he does? Does he run for his life? Does he call the police? No. He calls his girlfriend, Emily, and leaves her a voicemail.
A very emotional voicemail. I'm sorry I neglected you. I see what's really important now. I love you. It's supposed to be this huge emotional peak for his character. The redemption of the asshole writer.
But it's completely unearned. We don't know Emily. We've only heard Jack being a jerk to her on the phone for 30 seconds earlier in the movie. Why should I care about his redemption arc? He hasn't done anything to earn it. He just survived. Survival is not the same thing as redemption.
It feels so misplaced. It's like they're just checking a box in a screenwriting 101 manual. Act 3, character must have an emotional realization. But they forgot to do the work in Act 2 to build a foundation for it.
And then we get even more heavy-handed symbolism. Minute 55, he's driving away, and he just starts throwing his old pulpy novels out the car window.
I thought I forgot about that.
That's barf. I am rebirthing myself as a serious artist. Just give me a break. It's so painfully literal.
And then the padding. The movie just grinds to a halt. Minutes 56 to 60, you're just driving. And voiceover.
They didn't have enough footage for a feature film, did they?
It certainly feels that way. It feels like they had a 70-minute movie, and the producers told them they had to stretch it to 88 minutes for distribution. So we just get shots of trees, shots of the road, Jack looking pensive in the rearview mirror. It is so boring.
And the way they tie up the loose ends is so clumsy. Jack calls the police anonymously to report the bodies. But here's the kicker. He keeps the tape.
That is the moment. That is the moment that completely cements the movie's failure for me.
That pissed me off more than anything else. After everything he went through, after seeing the bodies, after nearly being killed, after killing Amy, he keeps the tape so he can write the book anyway. He learns absolutely nothing.
It's an unbelievably cynical character beat. And look, maybe that's the point. Maybe the film is trying to make a statement that writers are parasites, that trauma is just fuel for commerce.
You are giving them way too much credit.
I probably am, because the movie isn't smart enough to pull off a satire like that. If it was a satire, it would be sharper, funnier. This just feels like they wanted Jack to win, but also be edgy, and they failed at both.
No, it just makes him look like an irredeemable asshole. And then we finally get to the last scenes. Minute 81, he's back home, he's writing the book, his agent is thrilled, and then a glitch on his computer screen shows Amy's face for a split second.
Is he hallucinating? Is she a ghost? Is it a computer virus now? Who knows? Who cares? It's a cheap, final jump scare that's meant to make you question reality, but it just lands with a dull thud. It raises a bunch of questions that the movie has absolutely no interest in answering.
And the closing monologue. Minute 86, he's driving off into the sunset, and his voiceover says, "Some tapes should be destroyed."
The irony is just... it's palpable.
That is so fucked up. That is so unbelievably fucked up. You just wasted an hour of my life with this derivative, boring, nonsensical investigation, and you have the balls to end on a line that basically admits that the movie you made shouldn't exist. Some tape should be destroyed.
Yep.
Yes. This tape, this movie file, it should be deleted.
It really is a final slap in the face of the audience. It's the filmmaker winking at you, but the joke isn't clever or funny. And then the stupid post-credit stinger with the static and the whisper.
Yeah.
It's just generic horror noise. It means nothing.
So let's wrap this up. Final verdict. Let's put a bow on this piece of shit.
It's a tragedy of potential. That's the only way I can describe it.
Yeah.
You have a 30-minute segment that is genuinely effective, scary, and authentic found footage horror. It understands the medium perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have 58 minutes of ego-driven, badly scripted, derivative thriller nonsense that misunderstands everything about tension, pacing, and character.
It's a 3.3 out of 10 for me, and that 3.3 is entirely for the first half hour. The back hour gets a 0.
I agree completely. Unless you are a diehard found footage fanatic who has the iron self-discipline to turn the TV off exactly at the 30-minute mark, just stay away. Don't do it to yourself.
Hard pass. And look, I'm going to ask you one last time. Why do you do this to yourselves? Why watch bad movies when you don't have to? Just subscribe to Dread Done on YouTube. Let them suffer through this stuff so you don't have to. It is the only way to stay sane in the horror community these days.
Indeed. Dread Den is doing the Lord's work.
Any final thoughts on this experience? Yeah.
Just one, I guess. It leaves me with a provocative thought for you to chew on. Why do so many directors feel the need to explain the horror?
Right. Why?
The scariest thing about that original tape was not knowing. The mystery of the missing kids, the ambiguous eyes in the woods, the unseen thing in the lake.
Mm-hmm.
That is pure terror.
Uh-huh.
A writer fighting a feral girl in a cabin.
Mm.
That's just an action sequence.
Yeah.
Sometimes the question is infinitely more frightening than any possible answer. We fear the dark because we don't know what's in it. The second you turn on the lights and show us it's just a girl with a knife, the fear is gone. It's just a problem to be solved.
Absolutely. Leave the mystery alone. And for the love of God, destroy this tape. We are out of here.